Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome back to another Lost the Plot video. This is our second episode of our Best Of series, and we are going to look at sports films, hence the sporty gear worn by all four of us absolute athletes sat around this table.
Bosh.
Have that. Right, let's start off how we normally do. James, what is your unpopular opinion for today's episode?
Well, Ben, Killing Eve, the TV show, is horrendously overrated. Eve herself, in particular, why didn't they just follow the namesake and just kill her off immediately? She's the fucking worst.
I think because...
Best episode is that one where it's just Villanelle and her family. That, fucking brilliant. If it was just a Villanelle and Constantine show, love it. Eve, piss off.
I have a fair few people going to be angry with that.
Yeah, and I don't care.
Very angry. Not me, or Matt.
Fucking insufferable.
No idea.
What a horrible person. She's just genuinely a horrible person.
My mum will be angry about this.
Okay.
Sorry, Matt's mum. Get your apologies.
Yeah.
Sounds right. Oh, yeah! I forgot about that. Louise, Matthew apologises and I apologise on James's behalf.
I'm not.
Yes, James does not.
Come give it
get-
to us.
Right, on with the video. So, as we said at the very start, this is our second episode of our Best Of series. First one was Disney/Pixar, which I quite enjoyed actually. It was a trip down memory lane, it was quite good. And this one we thought we'd go completely different. I don't think we've talked about any sports films so far at all. Best sports film. We'll start with James.
One of the sportier half of this table.
Exactly. Well, we'll start with the sportier half of the table, then we'll come down this end.
There we go.
To athletes.
I'm going to start with a bit more of a light-hearted approach with Blades of Glory. I mean, there's nothing really wrong with that movie at all, is there?
Oh,
when you think about it, like...
10s all around. I know we said it's hard to give a 10, but 10.
Did you give my blood, Jimmy? Like, just stupid shit like that. Like, the concept of it is brilliant. Putting those two together as said main characters in that situation, what can go wrong? Really, it was absolute like the actual chemistry thing between them two as a pair. Absolute perfection.
The script writing must have been incredible. Or to be fair, it wouldn't surprise me much if it was improvised. Just because of the two characters,
just how serious, like
the two actors.
it is.
Yeah, it would absolutely brilliant. Comedy gold. How quotable is it?
Yeah.
As well. Look, to be fair, most Will Ferrell films are just quotable for absolute.
And a few that fit into this category because you've got.
Well, anything with Will Ferrell. The other thing I said is like semi-pro as well.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, Talladega
God,
Nights.
that's the other one. Yeah.
It's NASCAR, but it's close enough.
Yeah.
Still sport, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Blades of Glory. I don't know, it's just daft, isn't it, having an ice skating film? Something you wouldn't really think of.
Do you know what? I think that's why it's so interesting, because when you talk about sports films, boxing mainly, isn't it?
Well,
or F1 or sort of American football or basketball, it's always quite American, isn't it? Yeah, manly sports. Whereas figure skating,
And if it's not, it's a
or manly.
overly
It's
serious.
got a massive nest sticking up you, like, it's really
Probably
bugging me,
one of
sorry.
Sorry, Tom.
That's my mistake. I think if it's not something like really aggressive, it's really too serious, dull, and they've gone way too the other way with it.
Don't know, the Flying Lotus is pretty serious, you could lose your bloody head.
Yeah.
Literally.
I've not seen this film.
Hold on
so many words thrown around.
Get out of my house!
No, I'm so sorry. You've not watched Blades of Glory?
No.
Oh, it's tremendous.
Sort that out.
I will have to.
When you get home.
It's upsetting.
I'm
When did
joking.
it come out?
I'm shooketh.
I was in like year 7, maybe,
Yeah.
if not younger.
And that actually comes to one of the points I was going to bring up about it. You were kind of being, well, just efficient with it by just saying, oh, the concept as being something that was just great to work with. But the fact is, literally, they're putting two characters who are like top of their game, male figure skaters.
Sworn enemies.
Sworn enemies for a start. And obviously, you can all just putting them together as a duo And for, again, what you've just said, as that concept, you'd think, especially being treated as a comedy movie, it's like, oh yeah, if you just heard that description, you'd think, oh, well, this isn't going to be funny.
Yeah.
Or at least now.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's out of a lot of films from even just a few years ago, be it serious films, but especially comedy films, it's aged so well.
Yeah.
It was funny because it was actually funny.
Yes.
It's not like it was trying to make a joke at a specific thing or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it literally stands today like it always has done.
It's brilliant. It's really, really good. It's a typical Will Ferrell, just
It's one of his best.
yeah,
To be
random
fair.
mental shit that goes on, and it's actually quite nice to see the two characters grow to like each other as well.
Yeah.
In
Is
its
it
own
based on
way.
a true story?
Not
Oh, we should have played it. Yes,
where
absolutely.
they fly off in the
Many
air.
people have been decapitated through figure skating. Yeah, great start. Love that.
Yeah.
Thomas,
Oh,
I'm sorry, but it's an hell of a start. Can we keep it up?
it is. I was going to mention 3 very quickly.
He says.
And all of them are true stories, actually. One of them's based on. The one I wanted to mention because it's what I would think of if I was just to say a sports movie, is Rush, and it was a film from, I think it's Ron Howard that did it, so he did.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, he did.
But then again, like he did
The Grinch.
Yeah, The Grinch.
Ah, that's very
I
similar.
think it's so.
And he did the solo
Very,
film.
very.
And they're
very
films that are
similar.
probably like Marmite for people. I love them both. No, not for any particular reason. I don't know why. I say love them both. Like they're great. I'm happy with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really appreciated finding that out because of the difference in some of those films. I can really get behind someone that will actually create these different types of stories. They're not scared or they're not pushed into these same things.
Sorry, how mental is that you mention Rush and then all we hear is just the engine of a car just absolutely pegging it down the road. You know what? Timing was stupendous. How much did you pay him?
I'm going to say this boy race around the corner just like, this is my moment.
Sorry, Tom, carry on.
Yeah, so I mean, it's true stories, but like you got the story of James Hunt, Nicky Lauda. It's mainly their rivalry, so it feels a lot like the story of James Hunt more than anything, but it's literally taken by Nicky Lauda and his rivalry with him, and everything that happens with him, and how pivotal that is. But it is one of those things where whether you were aware of the stuff at the time, whether you went through it, whether you learned about it, or whether you have literally no clue what the story is, it's one of those things where you just have to sort of watch it. Because it is true, it is just one of those good solid films. You can tell it's a true story, but it's not like it's trying to really be like a documentary. It gives it time to actually be those characters, even though they're real people.
It's quite eye-opening as well, I thought, as a film, the fact that James Hunt, the lifestyle that he lived and was still able then to get into a race car and then be allowed to race, and then you've got the complete antithesis of that in Nicky Lauda, who's just, I mean, that's the most opposite person to James that you could possibly get.
I think this was a lot of, like, this comes down to like sports now. I think this was like sports people anyway. It's like people are always talking nowadays, and they'll say about these characters of these celebrities, like sports stars and stuff. But I think, but you've got no idea what some of these people were like.
Yeah.
Yes, you've still got these mad ones now who are literally living these like stupid lifestyles, but there's people that have already done this and gone through the same stories and probably come off worse. But yeah, that's just a great film, great story. And that's probably the most sports movie. The second one I wanted to mention was Foxcatcher.
The wrestling film, Steve Carell. Yeah.
Again, it's like
What a
serious,
film.
true story, but it's really delved into that. It's like a true crime film, basically, and it's just this sickening, just
it's disturbing,
tension, it's just
isn't it? Yeah.
all the way through.
I distinctly remember watching it, but can't remember. Mark Ruffalo's the older brother, isn't he?
Yeah,
And he's the successful one, and his younger brother, Channing Tatum.
Pretty well, I think pretty
Or
much.
is it, or not?
In a way, like Channing Tatum's character, it has been a while since I've watched it, to be fair. But yeah, Channing Tatum's the one that really gets taken under the wing of this coach.
Yeah.
Sort of like up and coming, trying to
Yeah,
do what
yeah,
he can.
yeah.
to
He's the one that gets
get
really
to a level.
affected by it. Like he's the one who the story centres around, or the film centres around. Even though it clearly was about all of their relationship.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But yeah, I think yeah, I mean that is just like it's so bleak, and I mean I'm sort of like quite happy to sit and watch this like grim sort of film, or this like real sort of like slow paced, really sort of drawn out story. And it is, but it feels like it does feel like you've watched a lot when you've gone through it, but that slower pace helps you through it. And especially when you're dealing with something that's really heavy and really messed up. But yeah, really like that film. I was really surprised when I watched it, because it was just one of those ones I was interested in, because I couldn't work out what it was going to be. Surprised it was a true story. But then yeah, literally come out the other end and just been like, really enjoyed it.
I think they're the best as well. The fact that when the film is released and it's a true story, you don't realise that. The shock that
It's
it
like,
actually is
oh,
afterwards.
yeah,
It's like, this actually, what
Yeah.
the fuck?
Steve Carell in that
No,
as well
actually-
is actually
Oh, and
terrifying.
he-
Like the
brilliant,
way he
Yeah.
comes across in that, and when you think like obviously you know from like Bruce Almighty and like The Office and stuff like that, like yeah, and it's just like, and then you realise it's the same guy. His range is ridiculous.
Like I want him to do like a more comedic influence role, but it's why I still want to see him in like a super villain kind of role.
Yeah.
But I would want.
Gru?
Yep.
Yeah. Put out your pop.
But I'd want him to bring in some of that seriousness,
Very
which
serious in that.
he can clearly do. And yeah, the prosthetics for that actually.
Yeah.
Like, the fact how you know who he is, but he's messed up. Actually, for all of them, because they've put on wrestlers' noses and ears on and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say my favourite sports movie. Actually, I think the guy who did Foxcatcher, I think he did Moneyball as well.
Great film.
But,
Great film. True story, really good. Just very factual,
Yeah.
very just like, it's an underdog story.
yeah.
I don't like any of the bloody sports films. That's the only interesting storyline with sports films nowadays, isn't it?
Apparently so.
Underdog. Ah, yes. Sorry, Tom, favourite one?
Yeah, so favourite film, sports film is Goon, with Sean William Scott. I always mix up his name. But yeah, so it is a comedy film, but it is based on a true story. So this is probably one of the ones where it's a true story, but it's clearly kind of loosely sort of follows it. But again, you again one of those ones you know by the end it is based on a true story.
It's a true
They
story.
don't try
but
to
nothing actually happened.
They don't.
I love that. The fact it's based on a true story just allows them to do what they want. It's based on it.
They like they don't try to like make any sort of kind of make light of that. Like at the end they just clarify and actually do go into a fair bit of detail at the end. But I mean I know as a lead role like he's obviously an actor that's typecast, but I think it's a case of in a way where he knows what he can do, we know what he can do, everyone that he works with knows what he can do, he knows what he's good at, so obviously he's going to be put in those roles, and he is good at that, and I like those comedy films that I like those comedy roles that he's been in, but in this, as much as you've got a comedy film, him and basically the story as a whole, they really get the space to do more with that, like he gets to act, and considering he's basically playing this kind of like dim but kind-hearted character, but basically he's just basically there as muscle, and it's all about fighting and the aggression of like ice hockey. it's kind of one of these ones where you could have easily turned it into a daft comedy film. It's all about just like stupid antics that go on, and while there is that, they just back it up and they're not scared to just literally just take a minute to just have like a really sort of normal conversation. But it's still got some of the like best moments of comedy in that type of film. Yeah, you've got like, I mean, you've got, so Sean William Scott, he plays the main guy. You got, I've never known how to say his name, but like Liev Schreiber, the guy who played Sabretooth.
That's it,
in that Wolverine film. I mean, I thought he was one of the greatest parts of that weird film. But yeah, he plays the sort of antagonist, and he's great in that. And then you've got, I forget her name.
Female.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
I've never watched the film.
That's the annoying part, because she plays like actually like a better role than that. But she, you know, the drummer in Scott Pilgrim, and I literally haven't know, it's something Pill, I think.
Shit, I don't know. Yeah,
Is
hang
it
on.
Alice?
I'll find out for you. I know.
Anyway,
Bear with me.
so they're the three I'd sort of like mention out of like the sort of standout roles, because they are like the main characters really. But the relationships between them and what you see throughout the film.
Alison Pill.
Alison Pill. I knew I should have just like said what I thought, because that's
Yeah,
basically what I
bang
thought.
on, mate.
Something film, but it is.
Yeah, great film, and it makes me, it fills in that gap because it makes me want that. Rob Zombie said he wants to do a film about the Philadelphia Flyers, who basically made, who were the ones that really brought like the whole fighting and the sort of the just the attachment that ice hockey got with that sort of.
I'm watching that doco with you.
Yeah.
It's
I forget what it's
ridiculous.
called, but I always need to tell everyone about it.
It's amazing. They're just
Yeah, he wants to make a film on that, and he's never had the chance to, and I'm just waiting for the day that he gets to. So yeah.
Thanks for leaving us with loads of time left, Tom.
Sorry, can I just make a quick point? This thing just come back to me.
Go on.
I'm pretty sure when we talked about Blades of Glory, I called it the Flying Lotus. I know it's the Iron Lotus. Sorry. I've just had that in the back of my head since I said it, and I was like, that don't sound
You
right.
just give everyone a chance to look at Flying Lotus now.
That's it. Yeah, you said.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever that may be, you ain't got a clue. Right, best sports film. Me, you've got the same one, haven't we? So we came over to fly for this tag team, the Shiznys, out of it. There are a few as well that I just want to mention, because I mean, there's
I
loads.
thought we were on time schedule.
Fucking hell, yeah, we are now. Cheers, Tom. Right. Right, one film. Matt, you can introduce it.
Warrior.
Ta-da!
That's all we got time for.
Yeah.
It stars Tom Hardy and Joel. Is it Edgerton?
Edgerton, yeah.
Edgerton. There's
What a
two.
pair.
Yeah.
It's, to be fair, Nick Nolte's in it as well.
Bloody hell.
He is incredible, the dad. Carry on.
Yeah, Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton are brothers in this film. It's based on basically UFC martial arts, and they're sort of in a dysfunctional family. They've fallen out with each other. It takes place later in life,
Yeah.
and they haven't seen each other in years. And they one of them's a family man who turns to UFC again because he needs the money to sort of save his family from, well, he doesn't have any money basically, and he's going to lose a house and all this stuff. And the other one sort of
It's all he
So-
knows what to do, isn't it? Sort of
Yeah,
fight, and he
just-
wants to go back to this, to what he once was, and have his dad train him, and he's a disgraced sort of soldier who's been done for deserting his squadron unit and so on. But people don't see that; they see him as a hero. So it's sort of that he wants to be isolated and get on with his job, but actually he's pushed into the limelight and gets all the support that he doesn't sort of want, doesn't need, and it's quite nice to see how that moulds him as a character. She still stays his arrogant, self-centered, aggressive self, even with the support of everyone else around him.
yeah, and they're entered into this tournament, 16-man elimination tournament with a huge prize pool, and they see each other again for the first time, and they end up having to face each other
in the final.
So it's sort of the film focuses on their relationship and sort of why they both need it and why they're sort of at odds with each other, but also love each other in that sort of weird brotherly way. And
yeah, there's that beautiful.
That's the real point.
There's that beautiful touching moment where Nick Nolte, who plays the dad, he's a recovered alcoholic. That's why he used to beat and treat their mum up terribly. That's why Joel Edgerton's character ran off. But there's this scene where, because Tom Hardy treats him so awfully, he goes back to drink and goes up completely off the rails. And there's this brilliant scene where he's got his headphones in, listening to Moby Dick, and he's just off his rocker, shouting. And he comes this far away from Tom Hardy's character, and there's just this stare off that's like, oh, it's so good to watch. The shooting of that scene's so good. But then there's that touch moment at the end, after the final, or in the final, the dad comes out because he's recovered and he's woken up, and he just stands there watching his two sons fight, and Brendan wins. And there's just that moment where Brendan carries Tom Hardy's character, Tommy, out and goes past the father, and it's just like that. That moment where it's sort of nothing's been forgiven, but that they sort of realise that actually they do love each other. There is that sense of togetherness. It's a really touching moment, to be fair. It shows
what sport can do to families as well. Like, and how depends how much one person's invested in a certain sport and how it can distract from other aspects of life, and how something like UFC can completely change someone as a person because of how messed up you can get from it and injured and bruised.
I was just saying, it's quite strange, isn't it, the fact that one of the most aggressive and brutal sport can actually make you more delicate and caring.
Yeah,
in a sense.
I guess it's because you realise what you could lose.
It's like reality checks.
Yeah, no, massively.
That's why people do some things like that, don't they?
Yeah.
I love the action in this film as well.
But do you know what? I was just about to say, the action itself, I've put it down here, the fight sequences are quite raw, which is good, because what they've done is they've got actual UFC fighters and wrestlers into the tournament. So what you're seeing is actual choreographed fighting, and it actually looks quite raw, which is nice and different, because sometimes I feel like it's too scripted. And even though you know, guess what? It's an underdog story, guys. So even though you know the underdog's going to win, our cliche bollocks, yeah, we know that. But actually, it seems a lot of the time that he's not, and he's pushed to the edge. And I know every film does that. It's an underdog film, but there's still that sense for it. It is raw and brutal. I enjoyed that about the film.
Yeah,
a lot. Anything else?
No, it's pretty much all I've got.
Yeah, I mean, it is good. Really, really good Warrior. Have you guys seen it at all?
No.
It's long. It's a long film, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think
I
2.5 hours. No,
I've seen Batman twice, man.
Yeah.
I can hack it.
But the only thing with that is, like Matt said, it doesn't feel like that, because what they've done is flitted it quite nicely with character development, story development, and then these action scenes that just that are flitted in there to progress the story. Because time, I don't know why, but time goes quicker when you're watching some sort of action in any sort of film. I think that's why they put them in there, to break up the deep storytelling of the actual film. But it is brilliant. A few honourable mentions that I feel like need to be shouted. Coach Carter, for one, iconic. I mean, everyone was shown clips of it in school, weren't they?
It just seems
Probably.
This idea that these kids realise that their education comes first. Cool Runnings.
Classic.
Just feels right. Go on down, it's bobsleigh time. Rocky 4. I would say Rocky 1, because I prefer Ivan Drago. Who dies. That's it. It's a great film. Dodgeball. I'm surprised you're not going to mention that.
I can't believe it. Yeah.
Dodge, duck, dip, dog, and dodge.
It just seems to be like it's just a go-to for like comedy films for some reason.
Yeah.
But because that's a bloody underdog film as well. And is it the caption, the greatest underdog film, or something?
Underdog story.
That's it. The underdog story.
Oh,
yeah. But I don't know, it's just different because quite a lot of the serious sports films are underdog stories where actually dodgeball is an underdog story but it's a piss take. Happy Gilmore as well.
Oh, yeah.
Tis another one that can't come to my mind whilst you were talking about Goon. But yeah, 3 decent films: Warrior, Goon, Blades of Glory, and a plethora of others. Yeah.
And I think we've all got some that we haven't watched that we should watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
That's how sick that was.
It is very good. I mean, to be fair, Goon's always one that's on Netflix. You never click on it.
Yeah.
But you always sort of hover over it to watch the.
Yeah.
It's only
It's
recently I watched it properly,
Yeah.
and it's insane. It's so funny.
You need to watch Blades of Glory.
It's sorted out.
Have you watched Dodgeball?
No.
You need to watch Dodgeball as well.
Semi-pro?
Have you watched Semi-Pro? Semi-Pro.
To be fair,
You need to watch Semi-Pro.
a few of them get lost. don't
They do.
I don't watch many sports films because I feel like a lot of them are quite similar, but I do need to get on a lot of them because there are some good ones out there.
Yeah, I agree. We all agree. That's why we've done this video. Right, hope you've enjoyed that from us absolute athletes. We love you all. Click the like. Bye.